Hi everyone. Today I am at the LSSC conference. I've got my official badge on it, and I'm in warm Long Beach. You can see the sun behind me. I just got out of the last presentation of the day, which was by a guy named Donald Reinsterd, and what he talked about was cost of delay and how to prioritize your backlog based on economics. And he's a super sharp guy, and sometimes I have to figure out how to apply it to the way I've worked and the way I can explain it to somebody. So I'm using slides from Dean today with the concept from Donald Reinsterd's book on Principles of Product Development Flow. Definitely a great book to read, and really one that really makes you think hard and long about the process that you're trying to deliver. So today I want to talk about how to do an economic approach. So I think of it in two things that I need in order to figure out which features or epics I need to put into a team in order for them to start working on. The two things that I need is the cost of delay in delivering the value and the cost of implementing it. And if I know those two things, I've got a pretty good idea of what order I should prioritize them in. So let's get into it. So if we look at the first one called shortest first job, what that's trying to say is that if all things were equal in terms of the delay in money that we're not going to get, so cost of delay is now equal, but the effort is different. You can see that the effort for C is greatly higher than A and B. So for example, if I was to do the highest effort job first, you can see all the money that I'm not collecting during this time, and I have to basically wait until B is ready, until C is over in order to work on B and then work on A. So all of this is lost money if you use the economics of delay, as compared to if I do A first, I can get A out there and then work on B, and A and B will be out there, and I only have this amount of money that I'm not actually making money on, and then really here is where C is being worked on. So recommendation here is even though it's called the shortest job first, you always take the one that has the highest value. If we take another example where the effort is the same amount of time for A, B, and C, but the cost of delay is different, you can now see that if I was to do A first and then B and then C, I'm really only losing this amount of money, as compared to doing C first and then B and then A, I'm actually having more lost in economics. So you can see that there's a great deal in differences between the order that you do it and the amount of money that you're not making. My favorite is what's referred to as the weighted shortest job first. So in this example, you have nothing is the same. So the delay, the cost of delay or the economics is different, and the time effort is different. So in this picture, what it would say is that you would want to do A first and then B and then C. So if I was to do C first, you can see that I'm not making any money here, as compared to doing it in this version. I've got something being out there sooner, and then I'm getting something else out there right after A. And then I'm really only having this much of cost of delay. So even though C takes a long time, I really have A and B out there in advance. So here's the values that Dean's come up with on figuring out what the cost of delay is. So you take three things: user value, time value, and risk reduction value. Most times I usually just start with figuring out the user value for each feature. So I would go through feature A, feature B, and feature C, and I would figure out the user value for each one of those. And then if there's still no discrepancy in the numbers, I would actually then include time value and risk reduction. But usually I try to include all three of them to kind of see how things shake out. So here's a simple spreadsheet that you can use. So down the left-hand column, you would put your features, then you would put your user value, time value, your risk reduction, and then you would find out what your job size is, and then that would calculate what job would be the weighted shortest job first. And remember, I always give Dean a hard time about this, that I always recommend, or you always have to choose the job that has the highest number compared to the lowest number. One other thing that I also highly recommend is that you use the Fibonacci numbers. So even when you're doing user value, you pick a story and you assign that to a value of like 3, and then from there you would correlate everything or reference that story to the other stories that have a similar value. So again, that was my recommendation on how to prioritize your backlog using the cost of delay and the weighted shortest job methodology. So I hope this helps you figuring out your backlog, and I still recommend everybody reading Donald Reiner's book. But if you want a quick jump on it, start with this video, and I hope that helps. All right, thanks everyone.